Well, hello everyone, I am Leif, and today's topic, I have the honor of being a voice for so many people that doesn't have a voice. Let me give you a little bit of the background. First of all, biblically speaking, one of the things that you can see, wherever there's been religion, wherever there's been oppression, you will find that the enemy has tried to silence the voice of women. This has happened all the way back since the day of Eve when she failed. The enemy came in and he was trying to go after Eve. But Papa God, when he stepped in, he actually looked at the serpent and said, you messed with the wrong girl. This girl is going to carry something that is actually going to crush your head. So there's actually prophecy about the women and the value of women, because from the beginning they were made in his image, the man and woman they were created us, and God has been trying to stop and silence the women's voice. That's why the first voice that Jesus restored at the resurrection was the voice of women. And their assignment was to share the gospel, the good news, to apostles and to men. So just think about that for a moment, just as a background. So the majority of the places that I travel around the world, and especially in the Muslim world, you will find out there that there's a very big difference if you are born a male or female, even in regard to value. And I am blessed to have 3 daughters, blessed to be married to a beautiful wife, and 2 granddaughters. And it does something for me, both as a grandpa, as a father, and as a husband, when I'm looking at my girls and to be able to see the freedom they have, to see the value they have. But it is also giving me an incredible pain, and I know a part of my calling. 25 years ago was the first time that shocked me when I saw that fathers came together and they stoned their little sister or their daughter, and it was what we call an honor killing. I couldn't understand how anybody could do such a thing. And the first time I saw them pouring acid over, I started to see some of the things that was taking place. I was so heartbroken, I didn't even know it existed. I maybe had seen something on television, and I know that Sarah Field played a role in a movie where it was described, but it was not my reality until I saw it. And I realized at that very moment there was an assignment from Papa God that somebody's been messing with his girls, with his daughters. And in these 25 years, something that seemed impossible, mission impossible. People were even telling me, don't even think about when it comes to try to minister to Muslim women. There's only women that can minister. But today, the story is that I've been a professor at a university, Islamic University for Women in Indonesia. I've done it in Pakistan and different parts of the world. The reality is I've been speaking both to Shia Muslims and Sunni Muslims. The reality today, both for the Christian women within the Muslim world, but also with the Muslim women, God has given me an opportunity to have influence and to be able to speak the language of love, to represent a God that looks like Jesus to them. And it is always one of my biggest topics is the language of love. That is the language the blind eyes can see and the deaf ears can hear. My assignment has been clear, is to restore the women's identity, to restore their value, how valued they are, and their dreams, for them to be able to dream. One little story, I remember I saw a little girl, she was 12 years old, and she was married off, had hardly hit puberty. And I was so heartbroken, and I was trying to ask some of my Muslim leaders, how could this happen? And it was just this tradition in this area. And finally I met with a couple of young Muslim leaders. I said, why doesn't your sisters go to school? And say, oh, they've never done that in this area. And make the story short, a year later, as we were sitting down together, we started to dream together. And I talked about my daughters, the value of education, and we were able to open up an all-girls school. And later on, I talked to the principal of this girls' school, a beautiful Muslim woman, and she said, oh, when you used to come here, everything was just black and white for us women. Now there is color everywhere. And then I interviewed some of those little girls with these beautiful scarves, and I said, hi, little girl, what would you like to do when you grow up? And she said, oh, I'm going to be a doctor, oh, I'm going to be a lawyer, and all these things that didn't even exist back then. And I realized that it is worth it. And now my assignment is also to see the women in Afghanistan. My heart is to be able to turn on the light. My heart is for them to be able to see themselves the way that God sees them, and for them to experiencing Jesus. So this is my invitation in this season. I just came from there and had an opportunity in an area where women have never had a voice, for them to be able to be there and to be able to share the good news to them. So are you willing to invest in love and to join us and to give them an opportunity to restoring back their voice, their identity, their value, and their dreams? That's part of the giving campaign this year, is to be able to making sure, including that so many of the women that are Christian, that they can get the education, they can empower, they can start a business. And the favor of God has been given to us to do that right now after all these years. But we need somebody to steward favor, and that's where we come in, that's where you and I come in to make a difference. Be a difference maker this year and join us in the campaign. Thank you.